Hello, my name is Dr. Caroline Njuguna, and this is Afya Buzz. Today, we are discussing breastfeeding. Despite breastfeeding being natural, there are still a lot of myths and misunderstandings that surround this topic. So today, to unpack this, I'm joined by Joyce Maina. Joyce is a certified nutritionist and dietitian. Welcome, Joyce.
Thank you, Carol.
Briefly introduce yourself.
So my name is Joyce Maina. I'm a registered dietitian and I have a passion in maternal nutrition and child nutrition.
Okay. When we talk about exclusive breastfeeding, what does that mean?
So exclusive breastfeeding is breastfeeding for the first 180 days, that is around 6 months, where we give only breast milk. And it's very important to give breast milk because it's advantageous to both the mother and the child for the first 180 days because it provides nourishment and protection to the baby. And it is sufficient and it's adequate for the first 180 days. So you don't need anything added on it. It's sufficient to maintain the baby's health. What happens? Your body is structured to provide your breast milk, and your breast milk has different components. So the first days after delivery, it's mostly colostrum, and then which transitions to mature milk. And the mature milk has two parts in it. It had the foremilk and the hind milk. And both of the two parts of the breast milk, they provide adequate nutrition, they provide adequate water. So you do not need to add water into to your baby's nutrition. It quenches the baby, and then the rest is fat, proteins, and vitamins. So it gives a total complete nutritional component towards the needs of the baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, during this period, breast milk is enough. We don't need to think about adding water or giving a bit of cow milk or a bit of porridge. That's not necessary.
No, that's not necessary. So the moment you deliver, your body, your hormones are all working together to provide the best nutrition for your baby. So when you think against that, that is where the problem comes in. But other than that, your body is working to help you provide nourishment to the baby. Yeah.
What are the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding for the baby?
So actually we have the benefits to the baby and to the mother. So for the baby, the milk is safe. That is the first thing that we are in support of. While we introduce other food, we might introduce infection, and that leads to hospitalization and other complication. So the first thing, breast milk is safe. It's the best. Number two is affordable. It's readily there, so the baby can feed each and every time. It's at the right temperature, so that is very advantageous for the baby because you don't need to warm the milk. You don't need, unless it was stored, but basically when you're breastfeeding, the milk is readily available. For the mother, we see that once the mother starts breastfeeding, we get things like postpartum bleeding reduces. We have things like postpartum depression, which it does help. It reduces the risk of postpartum depression once you breastfeed. It helps with bonding between the mother and the child. And also with whenever the mother starts breastfeeding, there is a hormone called oxytocin, which is released and helps the mom relax.
So the breastfeeding is not something the mother just does for the baby, but it also helps the mother.
It does, especially with bonding. You see, some research can show babies who are breastfed and babies who aren't breastfed. You see, the attachment with their mother is quite different. You will see one who was breastfed has a higher attachment rather than the one who was not breastfed because they got that bonding, at birth and breastfeeding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from your experience, from the babies that you have seen as a nutritionist, is there a difference when it comes to infection, malnutrition, and brain development between a child who was breastfed and one that was not breastfed?
So maybe I'll answer your question by first stating what components do we have in the breast milk. So in breast milk, we have proteins, we have our carbohydrates, we have our vitamins, and we have our fats. And these help in terms of malnutrition. Now, when the baby is being breastfed, you're getting all these nutrients from the breast milk. we're getting antibodies, we're getting white blood cells, we're getting other hormones, bioactive compounds that really work together in helping the baby achieve, good immune status. But when we get a baby who was breastfed and one who was not, you'll see the difference in their immune system, because now one got natural immune defense from the mother and one didn't. So you will tend to see such things. And also the one who was breastfed, it's good to note that once you're breastfeeding, the baby is able to control how much milk they're taking, if they're satisfied or not. We have satiety cues, we have hunger cues. So when we have such things controlling the whole breastfeeding process, we find it's good, it's well controlled, rather than one who's feeding, alternate feeding, and we don't know, they cannot even tell they had the satiety cues. Like when our child is satisfied, they tend to detach from the breast. Now, if you're feeding your baby otherwise, it is very hard to know whether they are full or not. You can't overfeed the baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
so knowing how important exclusive breastfeeding is for the first 6 months, and in our setting, most mothers will go back to work before the 6 months are over. So what are some of the tips that we give or we can give these mothers to ensure that even though they're going back to work, the baby is still getting this breast milk for at least the first 6 months of life exclusively?
Okay, maybe this is something I would like to spread out there, because I have clients coming to me way after they've gone to work, 2 months in, uh, just tell me they are in a dilemma because they don't have breast milk, and the baby needs feeding. So what I can urge people to do is stop breast milk earlier before you go back to work. So it's good to start way before you go back to work. When you're there with your child, you can express and store. It's very safe to store your milk. You can freeze it.
There are people who say that maybe the mother's milk is not nutritious enough, or the baby is not getting enough, the baby is crying too much. Is it a sign that this is time to now introduce complementary feeds?
So, no, if the baby is not yet at 6 months, you cannot introduce complementary feeding, but that would show you maybe the baby, if the baby cries a lot, the baby is not getting, you're not changing enough diapers per day, that means the baby is not getting full. So you need to work on your breastfeeding techniques, your breastfeeding attachments. What cues, what hunger cues is the baby giving? The baby is giving a little bit of hunger cues, like turning, moving side to side, looking for the breast. The baby is sucking their fingers a lot. So you're changing less diapers in a day. So you should see these cues and ensure you catch on them to see whether the baby is getting full. Also, when we say women, different women complain their milk is not strong enough, it's not enough for the baby. Mostly, it's not, some of them even say, go as much as saying it's not nutritious for the baby. But remember, the mother's milk changes. It depends with the baby's age. As we say, the first day it's colostrum. After 2 days, it transitions to mature milk. So those were two different milks. So as you continue with breastfeeding, the milk changes. It changes with the age of the child at the time of the day. So such factors do the child's need. Actually, the body tailors your breast milk in such a way that it's tailored to your child's need.
And what challenges would a mother face that would hinder exclusive breastfeeding, maybe from your experience?
Okay, maybe an ailment,
Mm-hmm.
because these days we're doing exclusive breastfeeding even with the HIV positive mothers. So that cannot be a hindrance. A while back that was when there were issues, but now we do exclusive breastfeeding with both HIV positive mothers and negative mothers. But I would say some medication, some ailments like cancer. If your cancer is of the breast, you're kind of going chemo. You see such are the challenges of exclusive breastfeeding. But the rest, if your medication is okay, you can breastfeed. You do not have to stop breastfeeding. It's not contraindicated. Yeah.
And for a mother who may be feeling that they are not producing enough milk, Are there tips on how to increase milk production?
We always say you hydrate well, you eat a balanced diet, and you eat well, and you have to relax. Stress hormones are they trigger milk shortage. Like immediately you get under a stressful environment, you start to notice your milk red down decreases. So it's a very crucial that even with the mothers going back to work or where you're breastfeeding, where you have sat while breastfeeding, it's important to be in a relaxed environment. You hydrate well and you feed well. Yeah.
And by hydrating well, this means like how many liters of fluid? And is it just water, or what other things can we use to hydrate?
Hydration is any fluid intake. So you can hydrate using soups, you can hydrate using water, and hydrating using tea, but don't, some of the mothers hydrate and forget to eat. You have to balance between eating and hydration.
And in your experience, what are the common myths and misconceptions around this topic of exclusive breastfeeding?
I think the most myth is giving water. That has been a problem since the beginning of times. The water that even a commercial water being given. So
For hiccups, especially.
we are trying to remedy the hiccups, but do not give water because again we said breast milk contains water, so it's quenching the dust. It's giving the nutrients required. It's giving the protection required. So do not add anything on top of breast milk. So the other myth would be the baby is crying too much. So they thought giving porridge was a good idea, of which now introducing any other food before 6 months, we need to know that the baby's uh, tract, the gastrointestinal tract is not yet mature enough to be able to absorb, digest the other foods. So breast milk is easily digestible. So that's why it's always, advocated to do exclusive breastfeeding. When you give other kinds of food, this might lead to malnutrition. This might lead to inhibiting some nutrients in the milk being absorbed. Like when you see when you're giving something with iron and you have your calcium in the milk, so there are some inhibitors which do not work together. The other thing is risk of choking. You have risk of choking. The food displaces milk, so that means the baby will be so satisfied they will not be able to to take the breast milk. And maybe you're giving uji, which is mostly carbohydrates. Which now we need our proteins, we need our vitamins. So that is not also encouraged to give anything other than breast milk before 6 months. Yeah.
So for a new mom who's struggling with breastfeeding, what are the things that they can do?
So my first advice would be seek a nutritionist, seek a dietitian near, in the facility that you're close to, because some of the small things that, just blow out of proportion is like the positioning and techniques. Once you position your baby in a wrong position, in a wrong manner, that can lead to things like the nipples cracking, which will lead to engorgement, which will lead to admission, and so on and so forth. So if you had visited a dietitian, lactating practitioner, and asked them like, how do I just hold my baby? What are the required timings, the frequency? This would have saved you a very lot of trouble. So I would advise the moms, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to start, to doubt yourself. But with the guidance of a healthcare professional, you can, these things can be easily remedied, and you can continue breastfeeding for the necessary amount of time. And also for them to remember that when they are starting after the exclusive breastfeeding, they need also to visit a dietitian for them to be told about complementary feeding. Yeah.
Okay. For a mother who's struggling to breastfeed and they come to a hospital, like here, Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital Nutrition Department, what help is available for them?
So in our department, we first have to know what struggles they are going through. Different mothers, different struggles. There are some struggling with their breast. There are some who don't have enough milk. As we've said, they come knowing they do not have enough milk. Some come with, and breasts which are engorged, flat nipples, all that kind of struggles. So we tackle every patient individually. We don't have one shoe fits all. So a mother comes in our clinic, we assess, and then we give our recommendation, and then we have our follow-up clinics, mostly 1 month after that. And then we can see how long, if we're able to help the patient, we can discharge the patient from our clinic.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Joyce. As we come to the end, what would be your parting shot?
My parting shot is that breastfeeding is the best. And this is a slogan that everybody should sing. So we do not promote anything else before breastfeeding. So breastfeeding is the best.
When we talk about exclusive breastfeeding, it means exclusive breast milk with nothing else to add, especially for the first 6 months, because the mother's milk has all the nutrients that the baby needs for those first 6 months. So let's avoid giving water, let's avoid giving porridge on the side, let's avoid giving cow milk on the side, because what the mother's milk has is enough for the baby. Thank you. Keep it Afya Buzz for more health content.